This is the DJI Osmo Action 6. Let's go test and see exactly what is new on this camera. So when I looked at the cameras to come over here, it was not foggy. Now it's very, very foggy. All right, let's go. And just to be clear, DJI did send me this camera to test review and I do get to keep it, but no other money changed hands. So the big question is, what's new on the Action 6 coming from the Action 5? And the headlining feature is, of course, the fact that this is the first action camera with a variable aperture going from f2 to f4, which should give us about an extra stop of light in low light. We'll test that out in just a little bit. And in addition to that, you also have some of these new modes because this is a new 1/1.1 sensor. Basically gives you the option to be able to frame vertically and horizontally at the same time. So if you do a lot of vertical content, you're having a little easier time editing that. And if you do both vertical and video content at the same time, you're not gonna have to shoot it twice or have two different cameras, or crop in on a 16:9 video frame to get your vertical out. Because now you're getting essentially both at the same time, where it's giving you a area to crop from a 9:16 or an area to crop for a 16:9, which is really useful if you use these cameras in the way that you need to be able to get both types of content out of them, especially if you're a content creator for social media these days. Look at that. It was not supposed to be this nice out here today, but I'll take it. All right, we're almost there. Now, one thing that hasn't changed with the Action 6 is that it has fabulous stabilization. I mean, almost any action camera in the last couple of years has incredible stabilization. And it has all the stuff like horizon balancing mode. And what's interesting about that is that you can now use horizon steady or horizon balancing in this new 1x1 mode, which you can't use it when you're filming in the normal 4K 4x3 mode. It doesn't work there, but it does work in this 1x1 mode. So I can tip the camera, you know, quite a ways. I mean, pretty much all the way if you have it in a horizon balancing mode, and you get a perfectly level horizon.
And this is a new feature on the Action 6 because the Action 5 was only able to completely stabilize the horizon in up to 2.7K, where the Action 6 will do it all the way up to 4K.
So we're definitely not getting any sunlight up here, but the view is still worth it. This is pretty epic. Very, very cool. A way better evening, well, early afternoon than I thought it was going to be. Another new feature they've added to the Osmo Action 6 is hand gestures, which means I can hold up my hand like this and the camera will start recording. And if you want to stop recording, it's the same thing, which is pretty sweet. And you can use that for not just video, but you could also use it to take photos too if you wanted to do that. It just depends on the settings you set up in the settings. This is incredibly beautiful up here tonight. Amazing. Although technically the best view is that way. Now, up to this point in the video, I've been shooting in the 10-bit normal color profile because it's easy, and I think that's what most people will use. But if you want the maximum amount of dynamic range out of this camera, or you want to match it up to other cameras and use it in professional settings, like I have a bunch with the Action 5 cameras, then what you need to do is set this to DLOG M. And what DLOG M allows you to do is color grade. Now, right now you're seeing the very flat color profile, or the non-color graded version, but it gives you the most amount of dynamic range and the most leeway to be able to color grade this to match it up to other cameras if you want to do that. Or if you just want the most dynamic range, or if you like color grading really heavily or doing something weird with your colors, you can do that when you're shooting in DLOG M. Obviously, you've seen me doing that as I've been talking through this clip. But DLOG M is super useful. I generally shoot in DLOG M, but for this video, I've shot mostly in 10-bit normal color profile. So the tide is out right now, and with this fog, I think this actually might make for some cool photography. And the Action 6 is capable of some pretty good photos, just like the Action 5 was. So we're gonna just go down here, see if we can do this without falling flat on our behind on the ice here. And see, I love moody photos. And this is a moody photo. Check this out. Look at that. Isn't that cool? No horizon. Let's try this out.
Now, the Action 6 definitely takes some great photos. I love the moody and soft vibe that the fog adds to this particular photo, but if you look at the kelp, it's actually really sharp, and the Action 6 does take sharp photos. I don't consider most action camera photo cameras, but it actually does take some pretty decent photos. You can take up to 38 megapixel stills in 4x3 mode, or 34 megapixel stills in 16:9 mode. And it does do a good job. Right now I'm on the macro lens, which is kind of cool because it gives you the ability to blur out the background a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. And when I first started messing with this, it was hard. It was difficult to see what was in focus and what wasn't in focus on the screen on the Action 6. There are markings on the lens that give you an idea of like if it's at super close focus distance or max infinity distance, and then there's a little person there for like portrait vlogging kind of distance, which is what I'm doing right now. Now, for me, depending on your arm length, you might be a little farther, a little closer away from that marking, but that's the general area. And at first I was a little disappointed that it wasn't like focus peaking or something in there to work with to be able to get focus. But if you use the DJI Mimo app, there actually is focus peaking available. Now, it's kind of a rough approximation. Also, you're working with a pretty deep field of focus, but it is nice to be able to have something to help you kind of figure out exactly where the focus is and, get it sort of dialed in. Especially when the lens is focused to its closest focus distance, it actually does give you pretty good depth of field. And here you can see I'm doing focus pulls from all the way from the far extreme, farthest distance to the closest distance. And you can see the depth of field changes quite a bit.
And of course, the Action 6, like the Action 5, has subject tracking. You're limited to 2.7K up to 60 frames a second, either in 9:16 mode or 16:9 mode, but it does track you through a scene, which is pretty cool. But unlike something like the Pocket 3, you have to be in the frame of the camera, or else, obviously it can only track you so far, but it does track you around, which is pretty dang sweet. One of the things that has me the most excited about the Action 6 is the new macro or close focus distance lens, just because it takes away some of that action camera-y look and gives you the option to get a much closer focus distance, but also just kind of get a little bit more depth of field, which is something that is like a dead giveaway to me in action cameras, especially when I use them on professional shoots. And that brings us to low light. Now, no action camera is going to give you sort of a see in the dark using nothing but moonlight like an A7S III will, but it does do really well in low light, especially in the super night mode that DJI has included. And because of that new variable aperture that gives us all the way to f2 for very low light, whereas the Action 5 and Action 4 were fixed at f2.8, that gives us an extra stop of light. So we do get better, cleaner low light performance out of the Action 6 than we have out of previous action cameras from DJI. So
You still need some ambient light around you, street lights, city lights, whatever that might be. But if you have some of that ambient light, you can get some pretty solid low light imagery. Now, beyond everything I've shown you this far, there's a few other things you need to know about the Action 6. One, they keep the same batteries, so if you have Action 4, Action 5 batteries, they will all work with the Action 6. You get a little bit more internal memory now. You're up to 50 gigabytes as opposed to 47 gigabytes on the Action 5, which, by the way, internal memory, super nice to have. I hope that every manufacturer starts putting internal memory in their cameras from now on, because it has saved me more than once. The camera is just a little bit bigger than the Action 5 is. Not much, but just a little bit. And so your current cages or anything like that are not going to work with the Action 6. And of course, one of my favorite things is the Action 6 works with the Osmo audio system. So you can use up to 2 either DJI Mic Minis, DJI Mic 2s, or DJI Mic 3s with the Action 6 and get good, clean audio no matter where you are. Most of what you heard in this video was filmed with the Mic 3, the DJI Mic 3, but honestly, the built-in audio is actually pretty solid straight out of camera 2 until you get into higher wind, and then you're definitely going to want something like the Mic Mini, Mic 2, Mic 3, or something just to get cleaner audio when you're outside. I will be doing a comparison between the Ace Pro 2, the Action 6, and the GoPro Hero 13, pretty much the flagship action cameras that are out there on the market right now. So if you're interested in seeing that, definitely subscribe and stay tuned because that video will be coming soon. If you're interested in picking up an Action 6, there are affiliate links in the description that you can use to purchase this and various different places that you might want to purchase it from. Next, you're going to want to watch this video right here. I'll see you over there. As always, if you have questions, ask me in the comments below, or you can join my live stream, which happens most Wednesday nights at 4 p.m. Alaska time, 8 p.m. Eastern. We can have more of a conversation. I can answer questions that maybe I didn't get to in this video. I'll see you again soon in the next one. Cheers.